Hello, my fellow Y members. Doug Walker behind the camera. In front of the camera in just a moment, Jacqueline White, our Health and Wellness Director. It is Tuesday, and that means once again we are demonstrating a brand new piece of equipment that the Y took possession of in the past few months, Matrix equipment. And so here is Jacqueline. What machine are we looking at today, and what's it going to do for you?
Yeah, so today we're going to hit the lower body. This is our prone leg curl. Now you've seen us do a regular seated leg curl already. I like this prone variation. Now prone just meaning face down. It just gives it adds a little variety to your workout. So both of them are equally good machines. It just adds some variety, and it kind of hits the hamstrings a little differently. So with this one, as always, I want to point out two things. So the bright yellow pieces, these are all of your adjustments. So a few more on this one. Now you've got one back here. This is going to determine, well, basically how tall you are. So the taller you are, you want to take this out so that it's more at kind of the base of the calves. And then you can bring it into this kind of one position if you're shorter. And then this one, you're going to line it up basically with kind of your range of motion. So you push down and it'll go from about 1 to 4. Now, if you can't really get in this position too well, I recommend this one. If you're able to extend that knee quite a bit more, then you can kind of go down here to that 3 or 4. The more range of motion you have, the better, the wider that angle is going to be. I'm going to shift our focus to the placard because that's how you kind of figure out where you need to be when you get into this machine. So you always want to make sure that your knees are aligned with that orange pivot position and that back pad is behind the ankles. And then you're just going to be face down. There's nice little kind of spaces for your elbows here. And I always highlight this pivot point. So this is where your knees will need to be. So your knees should really be hanging right at the edge of that pad. So you just kind of walk into it and then you just kind of fall over and just make sure those pads are where they need to be. So my knees are hanging off the edge, and then forearms go here, and you always want to flex the feet. So you never want to point the toes. You're going to be stronger if you flex the feet and then bring both of them up and then slowly release it. Now another thing that's nice about this machine, as with all of our other Matrix equipment, is you can lighten the load a little bit, and if you wanted to just work on one leg, you could. So you can do one leg at a time. Maybe you're recovering from an injury and you need a different weight on one leg, or if you just want to isolate one leg, you can do that on these, or you can always go back and do both of them. So always control up, control down. And that's your prone leg curl.
Now, one question. A lot of people have a tendency on the way down to kind of drop it quickly. You are always saying you need to control it both going up and going down. Why is that so important?
Yeah, well, it's that constant tension on the muscle. As a trainer, we always kind of preach that constant tension. You want the muscles to do their job. So if you let the weight just kind of take you down, you're only getting half the benefit. You're only getting half of that tension. We want that full tension. So on the way up and the way down, you want your muscles to be in charge throughout both phases of the movement.
Now this exercise equipment here, this prone leg curl, basically works on the hamstrings. How important are the hamstrings for your overall general health, your overall general mobility and movement?
So the hamstrings are really important as well, not only for just, you know, that balance of the body, but also for the low back. So your hamstrings are tied in to your low back as well. So a lot of people that have low back pain, they might have really tight hamstrings, and the hamstrings are pulling on those posterior chain muscles. So if you have any kind of back pain, it might not hurt to try to kind of strengthen that backside and strengthen those hamstrings, because everything's tied together back there.
Now we also hear about hamstring pulls. Doing an exercise like this on a consistent basis, will that help your hamstrings from pulling or becoming hurt?
Yeah, I mean, and something like this, to me, it gives you a little bit more of that range of motion. So a prone leg curl versus a seated leg curl, I like this one to just add in, because when you're back here in this position, you know, the weight's kind of pulling your leg, it's stretching that hamstring, so you're getting, to me, a bigger range of motion than like on the seated leg curl. So it's really good to have that wide range of motion, and that'll kind of prevent any of those injuries as well.
Jacqueline White, our Health and Wellness Director, thank you very much for joining us today and explaining how to do the prone leg curl. As we look around a little bit, we have taken possession of a whole bunch of brand new Matrix fitness equipment here at the Y over the past few months, and every Tuesday we demonstrate how to use one piece of equipment. That's what Jacqueline does, and she does a great job. So thank you, Jacqueline, for joining us, and we thank you for watching today.